The punishment paradox. How extreme self-criticism reduces your anxiety, the strange comfort of being the executioner. What's the first thing you do when you feel you've failed, that you're not in control, or that failure is inevitable? You punish yourself. You don't just criticize yourself. You attack yourself with a verbal and mental violence that you would never allow another person to use against you. You force yourself to work harder. You isolate yourself. You expose yourself to burnout, and at the end of this destructive spiral, you feel, ironically, relief. This leads us to the darkest paradox of the psychology of trauma and human behavior. Why does the comfort and calm you seek only arrive after you become your own executioner, carrying out the punishment yourself? This is not a text about superficial self-help or cliches of perfectionism. This is a mirror forcing us to look inward and ask, is my self-criticism, in fact, my most addictive drug? The stark truth is that toxic shame and guilt have transformed extreme self-criticism into a powerful and addictive anxiety-relieving mechanism. Your internal system has learned that being the executioner is infinitely safer than being the passive victim. The logic of self-harm as a mechanism for controlling and relieving anxiety. To understand this mechanism, we need to talk about the oldest fear in your mind, toxic anxiety. Toxic anxiety is not just worry. It is the terrifying feeling of an unbearable emptiness, the paralyzing fear of the unpredictable. What will happen? What will they say? When will the bad thing finally come? It is a future without guarantees, and the trauma-trained mind does not tolerate helplessness. This is where the inner executioner comes into play. Citing the theory of structural dissociation by authors such as Janina Fisher, this voice is not your enemy. It is a part of you that takes power to try to protect the vulnerable part. The perverse logic of self-flagellation operates in three immediate stages. First, anxiety screams. Your future is an imminent and uncontrollable disaster. Second, the executioner acts. Your self-criticism arises and says, I know what's coming, and I'll take care of the punishment now. Third, relief is released. By punishing yourself, you restore control over the pain. You are no longer at the mercy of an external, chaotic, and random punishment. You have executed it on your own terms. You choose to punish yourself first to avoid the anxiety of being caught, discovered, or humiliated by an external force. You become the judge, the jury, and the executioner, ensuring that the pain to come is at least predictable. This is the predictability contract. That's why, after a peak of violent self-criticism, you can breathe. It's not because the criticism was true, but because you fulfilled your payment. And for a brief moment, the anxiety of being caught or punished dissolves. You bought yourself a moment of peace through your own pain. The pillars of self-destruction. The silent sentence of the inner executioner is not a random thought. It is a profound installation. It is proof that your self-criticism is, at its core, a deep and distorted act of loyalty to the pain that created you. For those who have survived a dysfunctional environment, the internal system concludes that their existence and inherent needs were the cause of the surrounding pain. You were the flaw in the system, the original error. In this scenario, the child prefers to internalize guilt and shame rather than face the terror of utter helplessness. It is psychologically safer to accept, I am the problem and I deserve the pain, than to confront, my life support systems are dangerous and I have no control. This original error is what sustains three perverse mechanisms in your adult life, the pillars of self-destruction, which ensure that you never break your contract of predictability with pain. Pillar 1, the existential debt. The first pillar is the existence tax, the perpetual debt that shame demands. Its silent sentence convinces you that any joy, success, or moment of peace must be paid for immediately. The executioner tells you, you have no right to be happy unless you compensate for your original offense of existing. Therefore, You constantly need to generate suffering and self-criticism to maintain a negative balance. Have you ever noticed that after a moment of great positive vulnerability or success, you feel an urge to punish yourself? Whether it's starting a fight for no reason, engaging in destructive excesses, or most commonly, violent self-criticism. This isn't carelessness. It's a subconscious charge. It's your system paying the happiness tax to restore the toxic balance you've learned is safe. Suffering and failure become the currency, and the executioner ensures you never feel completely even. Pillar 2, the addiction to exhaustion. The second pillar is the most insidious form of the executioner, the addiction to exhaustion. Perfectionism, which is incessant self-criticism applied to performance, doesn't seek perfection, it seeks exhaustion. You force yourself into an unsustainable cycle of overthinking and overdoing. Not because the work needs to be done, but because burnout is your only path to relief. Dissociative shutdown is your destiny. For those who have lived under constant threat, the body cannot surrender to active rest. The only rest the nervous system allows is collapse. The mental and physical exhaustion that perfectionism and self-criticism generate is, paradoxically, its safe escape. The executioner punishes you with exhaustion so that you can finally have a moment of non-activity. The only form of peace your mind allows, because it is a peace guaranteed by pain. Pillar 3, the self-fulfilling prophecy. The third pillar is what ensures the cycle repeats itself forever. The self-fulfilling prophecy. Toxic shame operates through a core belief system. You are fundamentally flawed and unworthy of happiness. When genuine stability, real affection, or professional success approaches, the Carrasco program triggers a predictive catastrophe. They'll find out. The success isn't real, and the rejection will be even more devastating than the original. What do? You actively sabotage your happiness. You destroy the relationship before it can destroy you. You procrastinate on success to ensure the outcome is predictable failure. Why this cruel necessity? Because by destroying happiness first, you prove the executioner right, and most importantly, you ensure the coherence of your wounded identity. You are not afraid of failure. You are afraid of the success that would force you to confront the unknown landing of who you would be if you weren't suffering. This is the anatomy of self-destruction. It transforms you from a victim into the executioner of your own punishment, all in the name of a perverse sense of security. To break the executioner's logic, we need to understand that awareness is not enough. We need radical action. That's what we'll talk about now. But remember, the final revelation will be the most crucial and empowering of all. The Liberation Code. If the anatomy of self-destruction turns you into the executioner of your own punishment, it's vital to understand that your greatest prison isn't pain, but your belief that you need it to stay safe. Most people try to fight the inner executioner. They try to silence it with positive thinking or argue with the voice of shame, but it never works. This only gives more power to the voice because you recognize it as a worthy opponent to fight. The real turning point is personal agency. Awareness isn't enough. You need active disobedience. You're not going to fight the executioner. You're going to betray his logic. The only viable strategy is to break the predictability contract. You need to teach your nervous system that safety is possible without paying the price of pain. This is the only way to free the vulnerable part, which is still hiding, waiting for punishment. This is the Code of Liberation, a 3-step plan to disarm the executioner and reclaim your sovereignty. Step 1. Interrupting the sentence. Active recognition. The first and most radical act of disobedience is not silence, but the active recognition of the executioner's protective role. When the voice of self-criticism arises, stop. Don't fight it. Look at it and say, I see you. You're trying to protect me from external helplessness by punishing me first. I understand that this was your only tool for maintaining control in the past, and I thank you for keeping me alive. This recognition takes away the power of the voice. You disarm it by giving it what it needs most: validation. You are separating the voice from the action. The voice can speak, but your hand, your body, your mind stop moving in the direction of self-destruction. This creates a void between the impulse to punish and your response. This void, however small, is your first instance of real sovereignty. At first, it will be terrifying. The executioner will scream, saying you are exposing yourself to total chaos, but you must sustain the void. You must maintain your refusal to accept punishment, even as your anxiety rises. This is your first act of moral courage, refusing to use your own trauma as a weapon. Step 2. Tolerating unpredictability, opening the void. If the executioner exists to ensure the predictability of pain, your next mission is to actively tolerate the unpredictability of peace. You must open the void. This means that when you have the chance to rest, rest. When your body asks for a break, pause. When a good moment arises, don't sabotage it. The executioner will panic. He will push you towards overthinking and perfectionism because rest is not guaranteed. The practice here is active neuroplasticity. You must intentionally expose your nervous system to small increments of safety and calm without paying the price of punishment. You are reteaching your body to tolerate the absence of threat. When anxiety about losing control arises, you should use an anchoring phrase, repeating it to your system. Unpredictability does not mean punishment. You are breaking the oldest equation of your trauma. Unpredictability is simply life. It's not a sign that punishment is lurking. It's an act of heroic tolerance of the unknown that the executioner always tried to avoid. Step 3. Active forgiveness, the end of the contract. The final and most transformative step is to replace self-flagellation with radical self-compassion. Self-compassion isn't a cutesy feeling. It's an act of agency and brute force against the logic of the executioner. It's the conscious choice to offer care instead of criticism, not because you deserve it, but because it's the only way to break the contract. Active forgiveness is a ritual where you say, I forgive the child who needed to create the executioner to survive. I release the part of me that feels guilty for the original mistake. By forgiving, you free yourself from existential debt. The contract is terminated. There is no more tax to be paid. This is the final act of betrayal of the contract of pain. You are finally assuming the role of guardian and no longer of executor. You are no longer fighting against pain. You are building something stronger, your own unquestionable sovereignty. The awakening of the agency. We've reached the crucial point. If you've followed us this far, you've already realized that the punishment paradox isn't about willpower. It's about having the courage to disobey your oldest programming. Your biggest mistake was believing that control lay in punishment, but real control isn't about punishing the past. True control, your agency, is about actively choosing to rebuild in the present. You are not the mistake. You are the product of a mistake that can be corrected and overcome. Your strength doesn't lie in how intensely you can criticize yourself. Your strength lies in your ability to fall, to feel the impact of pain and shame, and, despite the executioner's cry, to choose care, to choose to rise again. Final synthesis, the new perspective. The executioner loses his power and jurisdiction the moment you take command. The predictability contract is broken when the victim decides to become their own guardian. The final revelation is this: your greatest act of power is not methodical self-destruction. Your greatest act of power is radical self-compassion. It is the choice to treat yourself with the dignity that your past tried to steal. Call to action, commitment. If you're ready to break the predictability contract today and take on the role of guardian of your own life and your future, I want you to commit to this new agency. Leave a comment below. Type the complete phrase to seal your new inner contract and declare your sovereignty. I am my own guardian. Remember, self-destruction was your survival tool, but reconstruction is your revenge. Break that cycle today. If this video was the light you needed to challenge your inner executioner, subscribe to the channel so we can continue this radical journey towards your total freedom together.